This is OSNG, Old School Next Generation. We're a dad and two sons who grew up in the woods and learned to hunt the old way. This show isn't about telling you how to hunt. It's about the stories, the screw-ups, the lessons you only learn the hard way, and the memories you don't want to lose. None of it exists without my dad. He taught us how to hunt, how to act, and when to shut up and pay attention. OSNG isn't a podcast. It's who we are. We're all freaks. And this is Old School Next Generation.
Welcome back to the OSNG podcast. Tonight, we're going back to the weirdest year most of us can remember, 2020. The world shut down. Nobody knew really what was going on. And somehow the only thing that really made sense was going deer hunting. Well, Jamie had online classes. Jaden barely had to go to school. There were no sports to play or to coach, which basically meant that we had more time than ever to sit in the woods. Apparently, that worked out pretty well for us because by the end of the season, we had $5 on the ground and a whole pile of stories. And tonight, we're going to go through those. I'm Clark. This is Jamie. This is Jaden. Welcome to the Old School Next Generation podcast. We are talking about that wild, weird, awful year in almost all respects except for our deer season, the COVID year, 2020. And we are 6 years as we record this away from when kind of the whole world changed. And that's where I want to go back and start. March of 2020. What do you remember?
Well, we were on a tarmac when the NCAA tournament shut down. So like those conference tournaments and things that shut down. Well, no, that was before they'd kind of said we're not going to do that. And I was like, oh, well, that's stupid. And then the Big Ten tournament shut down, which is what I was watching. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing other ones pop up and pop up and pop up. And I was like, holy crap. And we're just sitting on the tarmac. And then we got home because we'd been in Myrtle Beach. And when we talked to Kat's mom and dad, who we'd been down there with, they said it was full on panic mode after we had left down there.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was spring break time.
Uh-huh.
And there was a ton of people at Myrtle Beach. And, we came home and we were upstairs, watched the newscast and everything, didn't know what was going to go on. You know, it was 2 weeks, stop the spread. And I go into work the next day because we had a meeting. And, you know, I got laid off for a few months.
And you were working that time as a server.
Yeah, I was a server and going to school, you know, on campus at SIU. So, you know, I was like, how is this going to work? You know, I was a first-year education student, and I don't know if you guys know this, but it is still pretty hard to teach if you're not in a classroom, you know, even after COVID. So I'm going, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I've gotten 5 weeks of experience, and now I'm just done. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, well, in 2 weeks we'll go to online classes and then we'll just let it roll. And then let it roll turned into, you know, me being a student teacher in a classroom because that's how long we were out.
It was your junior year of high school.
Yeah,
you were getting ready to start track in between basketball
baseball
and track.
Too.
And baseball.
Well,
yeah.
that's I remember
started baseball practice
first. Yeah, I started baseball first, and we were about a week in, and I remember it was nasty that day or whatever, and it was rainy, cold, and we were inside doing batting in the batting cages and stuff like that. And I was just kind of chilling there, and I was on my phone, and you just see all this COVID-19 all over the place, and you're like, you know, we had heard of it, but like it was becoming a reality, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? And I think later that evening, they were like, well, we're cutting it, you know, because we had to stop the spread or whatever for 2 weeks, and baseball ended, and we never got to track, and
you
didn't get to track for a long time.
You lost a year of baseball. You lost a year of track. Most of your senior football season and senior basketball season.
Yeah,
because they didn't start until the following March of 21.
Yeah, that's up until mid-January of the next year in 2021. We didn't know we were going to play any sports.
Yeah,
so like leading up to that, I mean, I just kind of started lifting on my own and just doing my own thing because I had so much time. I didn't have a job. I turned in 2 assignments a day, you know, and I was like, I'm just going to lift because I have nothing else better to do. Well, then once, you know, deer season came around, I really focused on that because I had to go Tuesdays and Fridays to school. And with a mask on, half the people there, it's not school. You're just being there to be there. And I spent a lot of time in the woods, and I think since I was on my own so much and everything had shut down, I mean, you know this, I got into a deep depression because my world revolved around sports. That's what I did. I got better. I just wanted to get better at the sports I did. I loved playing. I loved competing, all that. And all that was taken away from me. I didn't know what to do. And that was kind of the first year I really, really went into deer hunting. I had usually shotgun hunted because of sports. I didn't do it as often, but COVID allowed me to go hunt sometimes 5 days a week if I wanted to. And that kind of saved me.
Well, and I don't want to get into the whole COVID part of it. I had gone to Denver for work in early March and flew back on a Friday morning into St. Louis, went to the Missouri Valley Tournament on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was with you.
You met me up there, right?
Yeah.
Or we went on Saturday.
Because Kat and I, we stayed the night up in St. Louis and flew out the next morning. They picked me up out in front of Scott Trade. And
then Sunday decided not to go to the final, and your mom and I went out and just wasn't feeling right. Just felt funny. Monday morning, still felt funny, started running a temperature. Tuesday morning, I go to a walk-in clinic, and I've never in my life seen the reaction when I walked in with a fever and not feeling well and told them that I had been traveling that week. They literally rushed me into a room by myself, slapped a mask on me. It was the first time I'd ever worn a surgical mask. And I ended up having influenza A, not COVID. But I missed 3 or 4 days worth of work. And when I came back to work, that's when everything had shut down. And 2 weeks was what we were going to do. I ended up working from home from the end of March until the beginning of May. It was about 6 or 7 weeks that I worked.
You do this every episode.
Well, 6 and 7 is it's a common number. And I don't know if it was 6 or 7. But it was somewhere around there. Idiots. Absolute idiots.
I swear sometimes you do this on purpose.
I don't, believe me, because I walk into it and then I'm aggravated every time I do it. When we went back, the whole world had changed, and all the rules were weird. You were going to school 2 days a week. You were going to school online. I was working, but it was still weird. We didn't have anybody into the studios. We didn't have anybody into the station. We weren't doing any live broadcast, any appearances. The DuQuoin State Fair that year, we literally had like a security fence because people couldn't get close to you. It was the most bizarre thing absolutely ever. You took online classes that fall, and you attended some classes from the tree, didn't you?
I never want to hear a single one of my students tell me they can't get their homework done. You log in on your phone, you type it on your phone, you send it in on your phone. I did it in the middle of a tree multiple times.
You did too, didn't you?
Probably at some point. I was probably sitting there in a tree one evening. I'm like, oh no, it's 2.
It's one night I was like, I think I'm going to hunt tomorrow morning. And Mom and Dad are like, you have class at 9. And I go, hey, the goat laugh. And I go, I don't have to have my camera on. I don't have to talk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slip down from the stand at about 9 o'clock and go get up on that ridge, zoom in, and then see what I can get done as the phone was just playing in my pocket. I did some weird things.
You didn't have a face mask. I started saying, did you pull the face mask down and have to answer a question or anything?
No, but
the answer is A.
Why are you whispering?
Yeah, no, I did attend
tree.
I did attend class a couple of times. Well, about 6 weeks worth while I was coaching football that spring with a power beat in my ear. I'd mute myself, coach football, have to step off the track to throw my 2 mandatory things into the classroom discussion, and then shut it off and go back on. But you can get things done if you want to. So I don't ever take excuses as to I couldn't turn it in. Bull crap.
All right, we've talked 9 minutes about all the bull crap of 2020. That was the bad stuff. The good thing was it gave us, I think, more time than we've ever had before.
And probably will never have as much time again
to spend in the
more
woods.
likely until you get retired.
I'm wanting to say I hunted like literally almost 60 times.
Yeah.
60 different hunts between.
And what is ironic is I probably hunted less in 2020 than in any other
yeah.
year.
We'll get there because,
But I mean, we had that opportunity, and we weren't running trail camera, or we weren't running cell cameras yet.
No, we
were running
had
regular
6
trail
Amazon
cameras. Yeah, like $29 cameras, which were great.
They weren't bad.
They
They
were
weren't
very
bad.
good for no more expensive than they
And
were.
we didn't get in trouble for buying them. It was awesome.
Yeah, no.
well, no one gets in trouble for it anymore but me.
That's because we have 12 now.
I just, sometimes you see them, you just
It's
gotta
it's an addiction. It is an addiction. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And we went into the 2020 season. We had we'd lost a couple of properties. We'd lost the Bottoms right before that. We'd lost the property by your house a year or two before that. Our primary property that we had was down in the Little Muddy Bottoms. We'd hunted it some. You'd killed a deer there. Mm-hmm. I had killed a deer there way back.
He killed one there too.
He killed one there. I think so. We had each killed one deer out of that woods at that point.
Yeah.
No, I killed 2 out of there.
That's right.
Point.
Your first deer came out of there, and then
Jackass.
and then your 11-pointer. Yeah. So you'd killed 2 out of that woods. I'd only killed 1 out of there, and that was a long time ago. But we had one show up that year that had a lot of potential.
Had a lot going on.
We had a shed from him from previous years.
That's the best part is we just thought he appeared until, the hindsight if going back, because he was not anything to look at July 2nd.
No.
Right.
No,
That
he
July
blew up
2nd,
late.
the July 2nd picture, it's like, that dude is ugly.
When we wondered what was going on, we kind of all agreed that he had to have pushed that one side when he was in velvet. Yeah.
Yeah, we thought he was ugly, and then I think it was like the 29th or something
Of
July
okay,
that we were like, oh.
Well, but that's the thing.
he's really growing.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is he really grew in July, but then he came back in August and he kept putting on inches.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen a
Yeah.
deer before, and I don't think I still have seen a deer before put as many inches on in August as he did.
Well, that's why he's called the Freak.
Well, and then I think the best video, and I was looking back when we decided to do this episode tonight. I was looking back at some of my pictures from that time, and we had the early pictures that were like, well, he's really weird looking, he's ugly, and then he's really putting on some length. And then on September 24th, which is easy to remember because that's your mom's birthday.
He went we didn't say this. He went like 6 weeks, and we didn't see
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
From the time that we went, he's really nice, he kind of disappeared. And then on September 24th, he walked in front of that camera.
Which is on the intro.
Which is on the intro of the video. And he was a monster. I mean, at that point, he was big, tall, long, heavy.
You would have thought we were howler monkeys. It was, whoa, hey, oh, look at the camera.
Oh my gosh. And I do kind of miss that, when you pull a card, you don't know what's on it. But that way, and then we got him again on September 30th at the same location. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that we got him again.
We didn't.
On camera.
Because I went and hunted
I couldn't find it. Yeah.
I went and hunted opening morning.
Yeah, out of that stand.
I remember getting everything loaded up the night before, and I went out there to go hunt in the morning, and the entire 4-wheeler was frosted over, and I'm like,
well, that was a good morning. It was 40 degrees.
Well, it was less
frost.
than that.
No, it was 40 because we couldn't believe that we were going to get an early October hunt at 40. It was like 38 to 40 degrees.
There was frost on there.
Now that I've gotten
October
a little
1st.
bit older, it's not been terribly long ago, I would never hunt opening morning ever again. Bow season, October 1st. I'm never going to do it again.
Okay.
I just don't like October hunts in the mornings.
Oh,
I like
okay, yeah. I got you.
I actually,
we were
I walked
itching.
in.
Oh, my goodness,
I
yeah.
walked in that day or morning, and he's like, "You need to go to this middle stand." And I don't think we had on X at this point either. And I'm like, "Okay, I know this area." I spent 25 minutes meandering around looking for that daggum 2-man stand that I was going to sit in the
See,
middle.
he was getting ready to walk in the woods that morning, and that's why we didn't see him for
ran him out.
3
and
weeks.
I couldn't find it, and I said, "You know what? Screw it. I'm going to the north stand." We had this
Which
buck
is
on
right
camera 2 days
right by where the
10
camera
yards.
was. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I saw a few does that morning was all.
Which something that shouldn't go unmissed is we went in on your birthday, which is September 2nd, and put in the north stand, the middle stand, and then the south stand.
That was a rough day.
That was awful.
Oh, it was
Notre Dame
hot.
played USF.
It was hot.
It was so hot.
So
there were a
and
lot
we,
of words.
we didn't see him for a while. Well, it was 3 weeks later we saw him.
Yeah,
again on camera.
but we put the south stand there specifically because my deer died down there. You found
that shed
thick,
there.
That's the thick part of the woods. Right
Yeah,
down
you had found the shed, and any good buck that we had watched had been in that south end. So those 3 stands went up September 2nd. And then the 24th, we got him at the north stand.
The 30th.
And the 30th. And we're like, buddy, we are cooking with grease. We are some
and you
good
go in on
dudes.
October 1st, a frosty morning, opening day. Just saw a few does.
and
that was it.
Yeah.
I went in on October the 3rd in the morning, hunted the same stand that you did, that north stand, and I had forgotten about this. I didn't see any memorable deer. I don't remember what I saw other than there was still corn in on the south side of that north end, and I heard something in the corn, and out of the corn comes a squirrel at just 90 miles an hour. Do you know where I'm going? Okay. I'd forgotten that was that morning till I was looking back today. Squirrel comes, I mean, just tearing ass out of that corn. And he goes up a tree not 5-10 yards away from me.
Would some say 6 or 7?
Not 6 or 7, 5 or 10. I don't know what the hand signal on that is. And right on his rear end is a bobcat. And that bobcat went right up the tree behind him. And the squirrel, of course, goes to the top of the tree and then jumps to the next tree to get away. That bobcat goes up the tree and just stops at like eye level from me. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh, that just happened.
So
He was
anyway, I
chasing-
started blasting.
So I started blasting. I grabbed my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to believe this.
You're called natural selection.
Well, he wasn't. I started to say he wasn't close enough to jump on me from there, but he
Ran
might have
20
been.
feet up a tree in a couple seconds, but he couldn't get to me.
Didn't cross my mind.
He's using his arrow. Bat! Get back!
Bad kitty. That's
And
my
I've got a
Popeye.
video, and I will put this in at this point. I got a video where he like starts to go back down the tree, and then he kind of falls down and runs off. But yeah, that was October the 3rd. That was the morning of October the 3rd. And we had that early cold front. We had frost on opening morning. October the 3rd, it was frosty that morning. October the 3rd in the evening, you and I were hunting. Were you hunting that night too?
Oh no, I was at work, and this
That's
is
right. Somebody had to work.
well. I had not seen a deer. We had gone all 3 days, me and Jaden. I went in the morning of October 1st, didn't see a deer, couldn't go that night. Went the morning and the evening, October 2nd, didn't see a deer. You guys had
That's
been
because you're
seeing
too
deer.
big and you're too stinky.
No. October 3rd, it's a nasty Saturday evening, and I'm standing at the server station, staring out into the road.
It's like 48 degrees and misting.
And I'm like,
My favorite weather.
this sucks. Like this sucks. I've waited all year to hunt a night like this. And
All
I'm
year.
standing-
October
October
3rd.
the 3rd.
All year.
I've waited 72 hours to hunt an evening like this.
But something we didn't talk about is I started working with my bow and things like that.
Yeah, that
in
is true.
May.
You guys, you guys were because we had so much time.
And we
shot more.
We
tinkered
literally
with the
all
bow
we did
more.
over the summer was we shot our bows and we cooked
and lifted.
We
And
lifted.
There was nothing more red-blooded American than the Lance House during the summer. But I'm serious.
a lot of grilled meat and weights.
I got a new bow.
Yep.
I bought a crossbow because why not? I had the money. You know, like I was tinkering with those things. They were cheap.
Weird flex.
No, they were cheap at that point. It was amazing because people hadn't caught on yet. But I had worked and worked and worked and worked, and I couldn't wait. And I had my setup, and I don't see a freaking deer. And you guys are just like, oh, I saw 7 tonight. Oh, I saw 5 tonight. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy sucks. You're watching a buck off a bucket taking pictures up in Jefferson County. We didn't even know he was there. I'm fighting squirrels out in front of me. And then October 3rd happens.
Yep. And that was a nasty evening. 48 degrees, misting rain, unbelievable weather for October the 3rd. You were hunting the woods near his house.
Yeah,
And I'll let you start with that.
This property was 5 acres, and it was basically, you had 2 ridges on both sides, and it had a little
Holler down the
holler
middle.
in the middle. It was
Transition
very
area.
simple. And this 5 acres butted up right next to the land that we had lost a few years ago, and I wanted to sit in a root ball. It was a
We
root
use
ball.
that root ball a lot.
We did. I was in a root ball that was 20 feet up the ridge, and I was hunting.
Yeah,
down
so you were in
into
an
the,
elevated area
Yeah.
where they would travel that
Yeah.
holler. Yeah.
and it's October 3rd.
What are you, 10 yards off the road?
10 yards inside the woods, not off the
Okay, so a
road.
little further off the road. Not much.
You had,
Not
you
much.
had that little clearing.
If you go around that curve and you know what you're looking for, you could
you
have
could
seen
see
it.
it.
But it was, I had seen some does kind of meander through. It wasn't anything crazy, and I think it was about 5:10 or so. This buck came stepping out, and like I said, it was green.
Timmy.
Yeah. And he came and stepped out. I'm like, oh crap. He came out of nowhere, and suddenly he's 25 yards because it was so thick. I didn't know where he came from. And I was already prone in the root ball, and I had the crossbow in front of me, so I didn't really have to move.
Whose
hardly.
crossbow?
The crossbow. I didn't say it was mine. It
that
was
yours?
yours.
It was mine
Yours.
after he just
And-
flamed me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I shot, and I didn't have an ton of experience with it at all. Crossbow. I shot with the top line. I should have shot with the second line, and I tore his ACL on accident.
Tore his ACL. I'm not sure a deer has an ACL.
Yeah. Well, he was using lighted knock, so I saw exactly where the arrow went, and I saw it. In
You
the
cut his armpits, what you did.
no, I wasn't that high.
Are you looking up, does a deer have an ACL? They don't have knees.
Well, okay, it wasn't that high. It wasn't in the armpit.
Oh, I thought it was the armpit.
It was
Yes,
down.
deer have an anterior
Really?
cruciate ligament. Is that
tore
how
it-
you say that? Cruciate?
Cruciate, I believe.
Cruciate.
I tore his ACL.
Yep.
And I went down
Poor
after
guy limped all year.
30 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally go look at my arrow, and there was a little bit of blood on the white fletching, nothing to be excited about, and I'm like, crap. And I didn't have a ton of experience about it. So like at the time I was like kind of like, okay, this would have been my first buck with an arrow or deer with an arrow. So I wasn't exactly sure what to look for. Well, it wasn't coded like I've seen on on TV before. So I'm like, well, that ain't good. But
Well, you text the group chat while I'm at work, and I'm like, this freaking moron took my crossbow out, missed a good buck, and I'm sitting here.
And I want to say, you guys both hunt with vertical bows now.
yes.
Yeah,
You sold your crossbow.
I needed new rims,
Yeah.
and then I never bought the rims. Welcome to being a dad.
Yeah. I still do use a crossbow.
You have
but
a reason to.
I'm 52 and fell out of a tree, and yeah,
Where's your scar?
It's right around the
it's
head.
right around. Yeah, it's right here.
I didn't use.
And I still can't completely straighten my arm out. So yeah,
I never really. Used
I do
it.
what I do.
I took the. Bow
I just
out
didn't have
'cause-
I just didn't have a bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't.
I
had
outgrew
both.
the youth bow, and
I had both, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I get it. No, I love my crossbow, but I still go, wish I could just use this regular bow.
Well, and that year
you have
was
a Mission Riot sitting in there. It's
I
rotting
know.
away.
I know.
well. That year was special because I got to take Cat a lot, and we had worked with her bow. It's a youth bow, you know, and it went up to like 40 pounds, and I wasn't sure about it. So I taught her to shoot the crossbow, and that's what she used most of the time that she went out. It ended up being her bow for the year, but you know, you guys used it some.
And I will say this: what's the farthest deer I've ever killed
Farthest away?
Yeah.
With a bow?
with anything?
I don't know. I don't know
Really?
that answer. Crabby?
25,
30.
30.
Yeah, that 8 last year.
With
the year
anything.
before last, with any, well, not with a gun, but with any bow. Yeah, 30 yards is the farthest I've ever
What's
shot.
what's
anything.
farthest with a gun?
65 or 70. Not very far.
Dude, you gotta stop!
You didn't even see him.
Oh, dude, it's too fast.
Did you do it? Yeah.
Well, so that's crazy. Well, I mean, I guess a crossbow
Well, what's your longest with a gun?
with a gun.
That's what I asked.
50. That one?
Yeah, 50.
He was 50.
50.
Jackass was 30, and that one in there was about 15.
Yeah.
The poor guy.
Yours is probably, you've killed one farther with a gun than any of us.
Yeah.
110.
Yeah.
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 Open
And that was
sights.
open sights. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I felt like a big shot. Drop that great
Yeah.
big doe out in the field. Papa's going to be so proud. It was not a doe.
Well,
And it
you were
was not
110 yards
dead.
away. You couldn't see little bumps on its head.
Well, I wasn't allowed to have binoculars, and we couldn't put a scope on top of it. So I'm like, oh, that's a big doe. It's 28 degrees.
And I don't know why I'm justifying this with the crossbow, but I think that tells you a little bit about where I feel like, there's crossbows get a lot of grief from guys that shouldn't use one and they do or whatever, and then they're shooting it 70, 80 yards. Not 60 or 70. 70 or 80 yards or more.
Oh, yeah. No. There's people out there that use compounds that are in triple digits. At this point.
Now, see, I respect that because
yeah.
that is, you talk about skill
Yeah.
to shoot that far. They call them cross guns. I use it like I used a compound bow. 25, 30 yards.
I'm
just-
just it out a little bit.
I'm just kind of to the
I know you wish that I would extend that
At
out
least
to
to
50.
50.
Yeah,
I'm to the
I'm
point
just not
where
comfortable with that.
I'm to the point where it's like, well, whatever you use, as long as it's legal and gets you out in the woods, go do it.
Well, and
if you feel more comfortable with a crossbow,
people out.
if you are
We could do
able
a whole
to use
episode on crossbows and vertical bows.
if you are able to use a vertical bow but prefer a crossbow, whatever gets you more comfortable in the tree, you go do that.
Well, and I don't know, maybe if part of, me only limiting myself to like 30 yards is part of me going,
It's the Leroy in you.
I don't want to take advantage
you know what that
of the
deer-
technology and the...
You know
and
that
the
deer last year when I shot with a crossbow was 50.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know
Idiot.
I
Low light at 50 yards with your eyes.
put it right behind the shoulder, didn't I?
that. Yeah. Did you find it that night?
No, but that was because it was a downpour.
Which was even worse.
Stupid.
We found it the next morning.
We're getting off track. Okay, so you tore Teme's ACL.
Yeah, if anyone's watched South Park, you guys know who Timmy is. And you know why.
You know why we named him Teme?
Because he came back after a while and he had a pretty solid limp. And let me tell you, though, I was not...
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
I was sick to see it, but we can
pretty
joke
rough.
about it now.
That was a good rage bait. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. So I think you texted the group and said,
I was the first one. Yeah.
I shot one. Don't know what kind of hit I had on him. I'm not sure about it. And I'm like, super. Now we got a tracking job to do. And
no tracking job needed.
And I was hunting a new farm, new to us. Had I looked back, I think I had been on that farm once or twice before that night, because I found some pictures from about a week and a half earlier of a lot of different areas on that farm that I was taking, I think, and showing you guys, because you hadn't been there yet. And the deal with this farm was it was a cattle farm. Cattle were in that area, in part of the fences and the woods, and we couldn't hunt off of. We had to hunt off the ground. We couldn't hunt out of a tree. That was just our agreement with the landowner.
Property for a while though. We
Had
could
we?
hunt it. Yeah, we just never did.
Okay. That was the first year we hunted it.
Because that's when Kat and I went and found Land of Doge. We were in the Mustang.
Oh, well, because I literally, that was the first time we ever hunted that property, was October the 3rd of 2020. And since we could not hunt off of the ground, I had a ghost blind. Have a ghost blind, although it's split this year, late season. We got to figure that out before next year.
Sounds like buy a new one.
No.
Okay,
Surely there's a way we can figure. Yeah, there's the Leroy in me. Surely there's a way we can figure out how to fix that.
It's called duct tape.
Yep. So and if you haven't seen a ghost blind, I wanted one of these for a long time, and your mom got me one for Christmas. One of the best Christmas gifts ever. It is an accordion shaped blind that is mirrored on one side, and it's at an angle so that it reflects all of the stuff around you, and it's about as wide as this table is. You'd sit up inside of it, and it reflects all of the leaves and the foliage around you. So when you put it right, you can't see I mean, it blends in very well.
Well, and we had
Didn't know there was a full moon tonight.
You're a freaking idiot.
I'm so,
I thought I was in trouble.
I'm so glad you're off camera, Jaden.
Anyway, the first time we'd taken it out was at the 5-acre property up on top of that hill, and it wasn't too far from the. Get in here.
Pull your pants up and get back in here. Don't make me use my dad voice.
Anyway, we
Seriously, pull your pants up.
It's like talking to Whitley. Quit taking your diaper off. Oh, God. Anyway, the root ball that we were discussing, we were hunting about 20, 25 yards to the north of, and we were up on this hill because of the same reason. It's almost like hunting a tree stand. And this little, like, 3-pointer, 4-corn something starts walking up the hill right at the ghost blind. Mm-hmm. And I am not a small person, but we had the blinders on the sides. So I just kind of leaned forward like this. Mm-hmm. And we looked through the little handle holes.
Yeah, it's about this big.
And watched this buck walk all the way up to about 3 yards away to where he could see his reflection. And I'm pretty sure he rolled down the hill. He jumped so high off the ground, I almost think he slid down the hill a little bit, and he took off like a bat out of hell, and we couldn't do anything but laugh for the next 5 minutes. It's impressive.
I love that ghost blind.
If you set it up correctly and know how to work it, you can quite literally disappear into the foliage.
Some would say you might be a ghost.
Great shotgun tool. I mean, great gun tool. And I will put in, I took some pictures of the setup on October the 3rd from down the hill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a cattle area. I set up in a pasture because of the wind was blowing out of the wooded area. I'm on the side of a hill up a pasture. It's got some grass that is, thigh to waist high. And I made sure I set up just below the top of the hill so that I'm not silhouetted up in the sky. Sat down there. And it was after you had said you'd shot at one. I look up, and here's a good buck. And he is walking down this cleared area that the farmer had mowed. And he was still, 75, 80 yards away from me. And I'm just watching him, and I've got some pictures that we'll put up, and it's through, the end, not the little part that Jamie was talking about, but it's kind of like this so that you can see through some areas, you can shoot through some areas, and I'm watching him through this, and I've got some pictures that you can see him, and I thought he would come toward me, and he didn't. He went down this clearing area, but I had the wind in my favor. And when he got, there was a creek between me and him and some brush and trees along that creek. And when he got past me, I slip out of the ghost blind. I slip my way down to the edge of the woods, and I'm looking through kind of the creek and the brush, and I can see the top of his rack. He's a good buck. We hadn't gotten him on camera. Didn't know how big he was, but I knew that, okay, if I get a shot at him, I'm going to take a shot. Oh, okay. I thought you had to go pee.
No, I have to bring.
Yeah. You're just going to bring him in?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one that was killed on October the 3rd that year. He's going down one side. I'm on the other side, about 20, 25 yards from him. The wind is blowing from him to me. And I am kind of down in a drainage area that, just the runoff from that hill I was on had kind of washed out. So it was maybe shin to knee deep. And I'm going down that trying to find an open area to shoot, and I lose him. I can't see him. So I just stop. And I'm watching and I'm listening. I can't hear anything. And I see some movement through the brush. And I see him like coming along basically the fence line. And when I saw him coming that way, I got ready for the shot. He walks out into the open at 25 yards and smoked him right there.
That's right.
Smoked him right there. He took off. He hit the ground. He took off. We had about it's close to a 200-yard track.
It was
surprisingly,
far.
because I
that
put it right in the
decimated.
bumper. Yeah, I mean, it was a great shot.
Right behind the shoulder, there was bubbles coming out, everything.
Yeah, but that just shows you what the adrenaline does to it. 9-pointer, heavy, lots of mass, not real wide, but
Dark.
really tall, pretty buck. We'll have some pictures of him up as well.
Shout out to 5C Skull Mounts.
That's right.
That was the first one.
Actually, no.
Oh, you did that one. didn't
I did. This is the only one I ever did. Oh, first and last.
you? Yeah, he's never done it before.
Shout out to 5C Skull Mounts because I won't do another one. It was nasty.
Oh, Vader was the first one.
Yeah,
That's
Vader
right.
was
My
the
bad.
first one that he did.
My bad.
And
We
we'll
love
get to
the
Vader at some
coffees.
point. Yeah, but yeah, this was the one that I did, and I'm like, nope, I'll pay somebody to do that again. I ain't picking brain out for 3 weeks.
It smells awful.
Yeah, it smells awful. But he's a great buck. I mean, heavy.
Oh, we were so excited to get that buck
Yeah,
out
on
of there.
October the 3rd. I mean, I killed one on October 15th when I was in high school. October 3rd is ridiculously early.
Especially when you go in blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy
And the
ain't
first time you
patterned.
hunted that property, I'm like, oh, this is a great property, man.
This is
it's the only
awesome.
deer we've ever killed off that property. First time we ever hunted it. But yeah, he's a nice one. And that was the first buck to fall that year, but wasn't going to be the last one. We had several more between all of us, and my year couldn't have been much better than at that point. October the 3rd in Illinois, you get 2 bucks. That's your limit, whether it's with a bow, whether it is with a bow and with a gun. I had a gun tag. But we had the freak out there, and it was like, all right.
Well, and it
got
wasn't
one
just
of
the freak. I mean, we had Junior, we had Tex, we had the freak, we had Fubar.
Well, and
we
then
had
on this
3.
property, we had that 12-pointer that I
Yes,
got.
we did
got
that.
pictures. We'll put that up. A beautiful 12-pointer that I took pictures of after I killed that one in the same area. Took pictures through a spotting scope like the next week out of a cornfield.
We now know where he came from.
We have a good idea, yeah. But we never did see him again either. Beautiful 12-point typical deer. So we had deer all over us that year. But the freak was kind of that was the holy
and
grail
Junior.
that year, yeah.
Well, that's
and
you,
Junior, yeah.
Well, it was October 3rd. You already had 148-inch a 9-pointer on the ground. You probably were thinking, go big or go home. I have that.
Well, that
entire
was that
season
was
in front of me
literally
with one tag.
Yes, I had one tag, so it was going to be one of the big boys. That's what I was hunting for at that point. Was I'm hunting for a big deer. And did you kill yours before that or after? Okay,
3 days after.
All right, I want to make sure they were going in order. So,
Oh no. This guy over here.
so the 9-pointer falls on October the 3rd, and we hunt through the lull.
Doesn't exist.
Oh, that year made me the believer.
That's just
It got quiet.
It got so bad.
It got quiet. Well, we had that early cold front, and then it got warm.
It got hot.
they just shut down.
Well, was that the year that you and I literally sat in the blind at that
because
with a
we-
shirt without
we
a
went-
shirt
when
on?
We were hunting the 12.
It was 87 degrees.
We were in a burn band. It was 80-something degrees. It was humid, and next thing you know, this guy's got a shirt off in the blind with me.
Well-
and I have a video of that. I don't know if we want to put that on the podcast.
We might have to blur out the
Well,
We might
and
lose
then
the boobies.
the next
The
week,
movies.
The next week we went up there and took a decoy, and we were like, oh, it won't be that bad.
So hot carrying
I
that
took
thing
the
in.
crossbow.
You
the
took
decoy.
you took a decoy in mid-October.
Yeah, and it was part of the strategy for that night
Okay.
because we were in that blind. But we carried it in. We carried the chairs in. We
awful.
carried the crossbows in. And we
Ringing
sit
wet.
down. and it's
Ringing
like,
wet. I'm telling you, that day that we were in that blind that I took my shirt off was, I think, the hottest I have ever been.
Why
hunting.
did we go?
You got to risk it, man.
Because it's October, man, and we love to hunt. We've got
We had- I
time.
guess-
and
we
this
didn't
guy
have
keeps
anything else?
showing up.
At this point, yes.
At that
kept
point, he
showing up.
was almost on a dot.
Yeah, we'd seen him come out of that same area a couple of times, and we rolled the dice, and obviously it didn't work out. Okay, so we had not seen the freak since September the 30th. We had that cornfield, big cornfield. I mean, my goodness, 100+ acres of standing corn, and round about Thursday night, I think it was. When was it? Was it Friday?
We went driving around, and which we did a lot of driving, even to our detriment that year.
Yep.
And we had gone down to that property, and Dad stops, and he goes, they're getting that corn out. He goes, that's where I'm going. I'm going to that south stand.
Was that
tomorrow
Friday
morning.
evening?
Yep. Because I said, hey, whatever, dude. I'm going to SIU. They've got their yard sale. I'm going to get down there.
Basketball practice.
Yeah, I had basketball practice. I was going to go to the SIU yard sale and buy some SIU gear. And I was like, you go hunt. That's fine. That's a good idea. I like it. I'm not skipping basketball practice. You know, we'll do with it what we will.
You were going to go hunting that morning.
Yep. I think I can speak for a lot of people out there. I think a lot of times you say, I'm going to go hunt in the morning, and then that alarm hits and you go, nope. And you go right back to sleep.
You didn't go that morning. It had rained a lot that night. And looking back, was pretty funny. It was a northeast wind, which is not normal.
That's
Not ideal for where he went.
Not ideal.
You know,
And I mean, it ended up playing out because I know the story.
but my thinking was it was ideal because they had just picked that corn for a morning
So
hunt.
the wind
My
would
mind
be
was
pushed
the wind was going to be coming off of that corn and catching that southeast corner of that woods. So anything west of me, I was good. Anything north of me, I was good. Anything out the corn, I was good. That's why I went to that stand. They got the corn out. It was a northeast wind. Perfect. Okay. But because of that northeast wind, I wanted to go, and this is in the Little Muddy River bottoms, and we'd had a lot of rain overnight. It was a muddy mess. So I'm going down the farm road. I've got to go all the way drive down the west edge of this woods to the south side and come back in from the south. On the way down there, I'm driving along and I see reflectors. I'm like, what in the world is that? And there's a truck parked like at the edge of the woods along the road.
I didn't know this.
Yes, there's a truck parked right there on the southwest corner of the woods. Like, what in the world is going on?
Oh, that is not what you thought.
I thought somebody else was hunting in there and had parked there and went over to the creek. And I was a little aggravated by that they parked right by the woods. So I drive on by the truck. I'm like, unbelievable. They parked right along this travel corridor. And I'm trying to get in there and sneak in, and it's quiet, it's wet. I'm playing the wind. I park out probably 150 yards from the woods, and I come across a cut bean field that's just, nasty, soupy. You're in the river bottoms, and I will say, we don't hunt in the bottoms anymore. I don't miss that part of hunting in the bottoms.
Or go to hunt it and you go, oh, should have brought
It's underwater.
and we're late to go anywhere else.
Yeah. So I go in the south end of this woods, and this woods, because it is in the bottoms, it has a moat around the west and the north, the west and the north side. And I mean a moat. I'm talking like 10 feet deep.
It's
so that all of the water off of the farm fields goes into that moat. And along the south edge of it is a smaller one. I'd call it a ditch.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had to cross that ditch, and it was probably 3 feet wide, but it was a foot or two deep at that point. So I'm, hoping it doesn't go over my my boots that are up to my knees at that point. And I slip through there real quietly, and I stay inside the woods because you've got the now cut cornfield to the east of it, runs along the whole length of the woods. And I've got probably 75 to 100 yards to get to that stand that we had in there that we put in on September 2nd. So I stayed inside the woods, didn't want to get out into the corn. I slip in there real quiet, get up into the tree, undetected. When you go in the morning and you don't blow anything out, you don't hear anything, it's really quiet. It's a good feeling.
The biggest win
it's a
you
good
can
feeling.
possibly get.
You feel, sometimes even you get to the tree and you're like, yes. And then you hear something, you're like, no.
Dang it.
But I got up into the tree. I got set. Nothing. I'm like, perfect. This is great. So I'm sitting there, and it starts to break daylight, and I stand up, and this is a one-man ladder stand. I stand up, and I'm facing east, looking at the cornfield, and I look out, and there's a deer out there. Put the binoculars up, decent buck, 3-year-old, 8-pointer, decent buck. I'm watching him. Cool. We've got some movement already. And I'm watching him for a little while, and then just, how it is with low light, all of a sudden another deer appears behind him, bigger body, putting the binoculars up. Oh, there's a substantial rack there, but I really can't tell much because it's still pretty low light. And then I'm watching him, and he's watching to my north, and I'm trying to see if there's something else inside the woods there that I'm not seeing. And by this point, he's probably 125 yards away from me. I'm putting the binoculars up, hoping, that the eastern light will kind of silhouette him. And I think I see a fork on the brow tine. And I'm like, oh, is that a fork? Is that the freak? Never seen him in person. Still
Been
low enough
forever.
light. Couldn't tell. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, I don't think he's as big as we thought the freak was, because we thought the freak was about 200 inches.
Pushing 200.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think he's a 200-inch deer. But man, that split's pretty, that's pretty pronounced. So I'm watching him, and it starts to get more daylight, and he's starting to come. He's just feeding through the woods, or through the corn, and that 8-pointer was out there. Well, that kind of got his attention, and he started toward him. I thought maybe they'd spar or something like that, and he just kind of, moved him off. Well, by then it was light enough that I got a good look at him. I'm like, oh, hello.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
I think my thought was, oh, there's the freak. It is him. He's legit. Oh, Lord. That's a big deer. And as he got closer, because when I first saw him, I wasn't sure. And as he got closer and it got lighter and I got to see more, I'm like, oh, my goodness. That's okay. And he kept coming, and I'm like, okay.
Which,
all right.
How far was he when you first?
When I first saw him, I thought he was 100. He was probably a little farther than that. And that might have been why I didn't think he was as big as he was. Because I watched him come. And, this field, I mean,
there ain't nothing behind
to the
it.
east, it's a half mile.
At least.
At least to the next woods. So I'm not sure where he came from.
He just appeared.
He just appeared. Yeah. And had the wind coming from him to me. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Don't laugh.
No, I wasn't.
Not anymore.
I was not.
He's
no.
learned now.
I was there. It was, oh my gosh. I've got some things in my favor. And he's walking that little buck off, and he's kind of feeding, and he's out there, and I'm watching him, but it's still far enough away that it's like, I hear this is one of the biggest deer I've ever seen, watching him, but it wasn't to the point where, oh my, I might have a shot at this. It was okay. I got the wind in my favor. He's on a cut cornfield, but it's a 40-acre woods, I think.
It wasn't
big.
big.
No, it's not a huge woods, but it's a decent. I mean,
it's not bad.
Half mile from one end to the other. He could go anywhere, And I'm watching him, and he keeps looking north, and I'm looking through the woods. I'm looking, I don't see anything, but he keeps looking that direction. Well, finally, here is a doe, and she comes from kind of my northwest. So he heard them, saw them, something, was paying attention to those does up there. So if I'm the deer, I'm down here with the stand, and the does are over here. So he's watching this way, and the wind is pushing across. I'm like, okay. This is not bad. And they kind of come out to the edge, and he is going south of me, and he just keeps closing, and he keeps closing. And by now I'm like, this might happen. So I'm stood up with the tree behind me, because that's kind of how we do it.
Where we had it, it was forked, wasn't it? The tree?
It was forked right
Right
so
where you were.
I could look through it behind me to the east, but I couldn't shoot that way.
Yeah.
But the way he was coming, he was good. If he stayed on that line, he was going to come into the woods just to the south of me, which with a northeast wind, okay, I would need to shoot him before he got downwind of me. So he's coming across like this, and I get up, and I mean, it's real at this point. He's within range, but as many woods along, this area, along that edge, it's thick. There's multiflora rose, Russian olive, all that stuff. You can't shoot. If you're not on the edge, you can't shoot the edge. They've got to come into the woods, or you've got to have shooting lanes cut out to the field. And that's kind of how this was. So I'm thinking he's going to come right here. So I've got my bow. I'm turned around to where he's going to come this way. I get a shot right here. Well, he's coming this way, and he gets to that edge, and he stops. And he's watching these does back to my north. And then he starts walking up the edge, straight behind the tree, which is not good because I got the tree between me and him. I mean, it's good for cover, but it's not good to get a shot. Okay. Because I was afraid he'd get downwind, so I only had a narrow opening that I'd be able to shoot. But then he starts coming up this way, and my fear was he would go up the edge of the woods toward those does and keep going, and I would never have a shot at him. So he starts walking this way. Well, now I've got a problem because I'm this way. The tree is here, so I'm going to have to turn all the way back around and hope he comes to my north. And about that time, here comes a doe train. And I'm worried at that point they're going to come inside the woods and get downwind of me.
Now you don't have 2 eyes, you have 12.
Well, there were 5 or 6 does, yeah. But I'm watching him, and he stops. Oh my gosh!
Just 5 or 6.
Maybe do it again.
6 or 7.
No, no, 5 or 6. And he stops at the edge of the woods, and he's watching those does, and he starts making a scrape, and I mean thrashing this limb.
I would have been peeing down both.
It was beautiful. I started shaking when he was out in the corn. I
wouldn't have been in the tree at this point.
I started shaking when I realized who it was, and when he started my way, I started shaking. But I watched him. I think I watched him for like 30 minutes that morning.
Oh, you texted me for 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Take it to a publisher, buddy.
I had a chance. I had a chance to calm myself down. I saw him. I realized who it was. I knew the caliber of deer that he was. I shook, and then I was able to calm myself down. But then when he started thrashing that tree, it was freaking awesome. And it's surreal. And I'm telling you, when he was like 20, 25 yards at that point, but I didn't have a shot. He looked like a cartoon. That's what I kept thinking. He doesn't look real. That rack on his head doesn't look real. It looks like a cartoon.
The 30-point buck?
Yes.
The 30-point buck?
It was that. The only other one that I've ever felt like that with was stickers. And I'm looking, I go, he doesn't even look real. And he's thrashing that tree back here, and these does are coming in, and they're about 20 yards north of him, and he's watching them. And if he goes up that edge, I'm screwed. I have nothing. And all of a sudden, he breaks from that tree, and he comes at an angle into the woods. Holy crap. He's at 20 yards, and he's about to break open and come across to my north. And I put it on him, and I just followed him. And he was watching those does, so he was looking the other way. It was beautiful. And he got right here, and I hammered him. And
How far?
7 yards.
Mm-hmm. Bed down in front of him.
He could have
7 yards.
He could have sharpened a stick and thrown it at him.
He should have jumped out of the tree.
Yeah.
7 yards.
Right in the pump house.
Well, and when things, you just don't know. He ran about 40 yards and he stopped and he looked back, and I thought he kind of wobbled, but it's still October. It's thick.
It's still green.
It's thick. There's a lot of stuff there.
Especially in that south end.
Yeah. And he walks a little bit, and that's it.
To give you an idea of how thick this woods is, the only reason we found my deer was because we climbed up on the dead tree that he collapsed on.
Yeah.
But we had to walk up a down tree to look down into the crap.
Yeah.
It is thick in there.
And I that was it. And I was shaking so bad I had to sit down to keep from falling out of the stand. Literally had to sit down in a one-man ladder stand to keep from falling out of it.
All right, now pause. I don't want you to say anything else. So I mentioned I was going to go to the SIU yard sale and then drive back to town and go to the basketball practice that we had, because we could only shoot and we could only have 6 kids in the gym at a time or something stupid like that. And I just woke up 7:15 in the morning. I'm like, all right, weird. That's cool. I'll just go get in the shower. Everyone else is asleep. I'm basically asleep, and oh, that's a long message. I'm not reading all that. Oh, that says freak. So now, my interest is peaked, and I'm like, I'm finally reading through it, and then another one, and I'm like,
It's a long series of messages.
It's probably the longest
and then
message I've ever
another,
received.
and I'm like,
There was a reason.
I know. And then I finally get the last one, and he goes, and that's where I shot him at 7 yards. And I'm not kidding. I jump out of the shower, grab a towel, I run downstairs to you, and I go, he shot the freak! He shot the
Let
freak!
me tell you, I have never had quite the alarm as I did that day. I'm sound asleep, like a baby. And I just hear my door just crash open, and I'm getting shook, and he's yelling at me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on, And then I can remember when I can actually hear what you're saying, and I'm like, we gotta go.
Well, I
we
come
gotta
running.
get out of here.
Jaden and I lived in the basement, and I go running back up the stairs, and Mom comes out and goes, "What the hell is going on in here?" Because why not? That's a common response.
This was like
on a Saturday.
And I go, Dad shot the freak. I don't know where any of my clothes are. And she's like, your dad shot the freak, which means it's a big deer.
Yeah, if she
got fired up.
knows, if she knows and she gets fired up, it's a good day.
Which then I run downstairs. I'm like, hey, baby, Dad shot the freak. I'll see you later. We're going out to Papa's right now. Because she's off in the dungeon with E. She can't hear a thing. But I remember texting you, where are you? And did you go look?
And I had not.
I was fired up when you said that.
I had not gotten down to the tree. I couldn't. And the reason you got this long, drawn-out text message was I was trying to calm myself down.
Which, in hindsight, completely understand. But I'm like, get on with it.
I know,
old man.
But I'm typing that out, and I'm replaying it in my head, and the whole time I'm still shaking in the tree. It took. I think that I looked back at those messages because I screenshot them. I have the messages.
Oh, I'd love to go back and read that.
Well, and I thought about putting them up. Our language is not
surely not
podcast appropriate. There were a lot of bombs being dropped back and forth. We were very excited. But I went back and I read it, which is I'm glad that I had the foresight to screenshot that whole.
Yeah, because I didn't.
Yeah. But what I was doing was trying to calm myself down. I was shaking so bad, and in one point,
I don't even know
I shot him 40. I shot him 45 minutes ago, and I'm still shaking.
There had to have been so many typos.
Not really. No. I was going very slow,
and that was like to me.
Yeah.
Like there was no alarm. I'm telling you, I had no idea.
Until I put that picture and I had it circled.
Yes.
There's a circle and that's where I shot him at 7 yards.
And that's an English major would have loved this story because I'm telling you, you held
Maybe
on
we'll just
to
have to
it
block some of it out
because you held on to it the whole time. And I'm like, okay,
but I was trying to get my thoughts and replay it in my. As a bow hunter, you replay that, and that was fresh. I was replaying it. And I had not gotten down yet, and you were like, "What are we going to do? I've got to go to practice." And I'm like, "That's fine. That'll give us till 11 o'clock. That'll give him like 3 hours."
And then I called Nick Wingo and I go, "I'm not coming to practice. My dad just shot a 200 incher," and he goes, "Yeah, that's valid. That's okay. Go ahead."
Well, I got down.
No, if you're still there in the tree, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in the tree, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get down. I'm going to slip out of here. He went directly west. The four-wheeler is directly south. I can get down, slip down the edge of the woods, and get out of here and leave him alone. Let him bed down somewhere. We'll come back in 3 hours or so and look. But you get down. It's 7 yards away. What do?
You got to go check the arrow.
You got to go walk over there and check the arrow. And when I walked over there, it looked like a horror movie. There was blood everywhere.
There was blood on the
The
tree.
arrow was painted. The ground looked like you had dumped out a red bucket of paint. There was blood up the side of the tree behind him. I took a picture of that and I sent it to you guys, and I said, I effing smoked him.
And that was the moment that it was. That's when I called Nick. What a guy. You know what? I agree. But that was the moment that I called Nick, because I was like, this deer's dead.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
no waiting.
Yes.
This deer is dead. We will meet you.
But when I took that picture and I turned and walked south, and when I met, and I still remember this, when I messaged, I smoked him, I was walking out and I started shaking again because I knew he was dead. But I wouldn't even look to the west. I would not even look to the west,
which
because
is probably a good thing, and we'll get to it in a second.
because I wanted you guys, and I say in the
Yeah, you
message,
did.
I want you and Dad with me when we track this deer. And you guys met me at Mom and Dad's house, and Leroy didn't want to go.
Well, I was gonna bring this up. We rolled up, and you were right outside the barn, and I remember me and him were hysterically laughing as we were going to park because you were ghost white.
Oh,
You looked like you
really?
were sick.
You looked
Really?
like you could puke at any moment.
It looked like you missed a
Interesting.
200-inch deer.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I don't think you've ever told me
I mean,
that.
we went right by and we started dying. We're like, this guy looks like he's about to pass out.
Yeah, you looked like you were drained.
I didn't know that.
Well,
I don't think
you're-
you've ever told me
You're,
that.
you're talking about a massive adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
You know, probably on an empty stomach with nothing but coffee.
It was adrenaline, crash. Adrenaline, where he shot, crash. And then he had more adrenaline on the way out. I mean, he was all over the place all morning.
All right, so we got a lot to get to still.
Yeah.
So let's
we
move.
we can cut a couple of things because this is awesome. It's fine.
And we go back down there and we ride in the Three Stooges on the four-wheeler.
Us three on one wheeler.
And by
Not
the way,
again, it's a mile back in there.
and we are the most obnoxious people you have ever seen at this point, because we are sky high and we cannot wait. It was just like sitting in line at a roller coaster. You were like, oh, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. And then you get to the woods and it's like, oh, it's game on.
Yeah.
You know, the mood completely changed.
Well, because we felt good about the blood, but
Then you
gotta track
gotta
that deer.
get there. Yeah.
You got to find him.
so we go to where
I think your words were, I pray to God he's not in the creek. Because the little muddy wasn't that far away.
yeah, we're quarter mile from a river, and that's the way he headed.
Yeah.
So we go to the place. I show you guys the blood on the tree.
And I quit looking for blood. It was cavity searching from then on. I've never in my life seen a blood trail like that.
No.
I have on video.
Yeah, there's been a few videos where I've seen where it may be just as bad or worse, but not very many.
No.
I started saying, no, it was wider. It was like
It was
this
well,
wide
it was
on
the
both
entry
sides
and exit.
Yeah, he was just pouring blood out both
And
sides.
there were times where we found blood 5 feet, 6 feet away.
Well, going back
Like, 'cause he
with
just
him on
was
the four-wheeler
spraying.
was insane, because you were no longer just looking right
Yeah.
here. It was a whole area
Yeah.
through that woods.
45 yards.
I think
40 to 45 yards.
I think when you put it into OnX, it was 48 yards.
Where I saw him stop
And
and,
it was
look back and thought he might shake, I think he might have taken 2 or 3 more steps.
and it
that was it.
probably, it wasn't even 60 seconds of a track.
Oh no!
We walked
No,
the
we
trail.
literally just walked.
We walked
straight to him.
We walked the trail for not even a minute, and then boom, there he is. You can see him through the woods.
And the first reaction,
Oh, he's a 160 inches.
He's not as big as I thought.
I mean, literally, I think those were the words.
Yeah,
he's about
that's
160.
not what
He's
we thought he
160.
was.
And now, this man is not very big. Okay, understand. There ain't a lot going on over here in many different ways.
Wow.
And
Read the shirt.
Don't bring attention to the shirt.
then why'd you wear it?
It's a subtle thing.
So I'm like, okay, well, let's take pictures. You know, this is the freak. We hunted
Yep,
this deer.
this was the deer
This
we
is
were
the one we
after.
wanted. Get behind that deer and take a picture. And you get down and you lift that
the
deer
head
up. And we go, that
Oh.
tree's way bigger than we thought it was.
Oh.
Holy crap.
Oh. And he just kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
The longer you looked, and that's most of the, I say most of the time, a lot of times you shoot one, you get it, you're like, oh,
Ground
quite what I
Shrinkage.
thought.
And,
Yes.
and that's exactly what, wow, ground
this one,
shrinkage is a
and that's
drug.
what I thought, yeah. This one kept getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger.
The more you looked at him, the more impressive he got.
Well,
And I think part of the reason that the initial reaction was that he's not what I thought he was is because of that injury that kind of pushed that one side
Oh, yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So he's not super wide.
No,
which
you and
he
you
was
guys.
he was laying on his bad side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you couldn't get, I know it's the bad side, but you couldn't get the full effect of
No.
everything just looking
Well,
down.
and also you got to put this in perspective. This is the biggest deer you probably like body wise, or the Phantom.
They were close.
Well, I remember-
the Phantom dressed at 225. He was close.
I
dressed
remember-
at 225.
I remember taking a picture of him with his head still on the ground from behind him with his neck, and his neck was wider than the back of his head. He was that rutted up. His neck was just fat. His head was just big, and that probably is what we looked at. That we're like, oh man. He's a great buck, but
Yeah.
not what we thought he was. And then when you picked him up and you saw the perspective of you behind him,
Yeah.
you're going,
oh,
holy cow.
look how
but
long he is. Look how heavy
mass,
he is.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think the size of his body made his rack look smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you pick him up, it was just from there on. I mean, it was
and I think in our intro we have a picture of him on the back of the four-wheeler that
Yes,
is like
yeah, yeah.
silhouetted. So, I mean, this is a special deer. We brought him out. We took pictures in the woods. We brought him out. We're loading up. He was on the back of the four-wheeler, and I looked. I go, that's a heck of an angle. I took a couple of pictures there. We get back to the house. We took a couple of pictures. We had a friend come over, and he taped him preliminarily. And then the next day, and I hope Jamie doesn't take too long because this is kind of special. The next day we had not a friend but an acquaintance,
a friend of a friend for sure.
Seth Bowles is the one that came down. Shout out Bowles. Came down and he taped him out for us. And I've actually got this screenshot too. A friend of ours who hunted down there. And I should go back. The truck that I saw that I was aggravated about was actually a farm truck. They got stuck the day before in the mud.
Couldn't
and
imagine
just
why.
had to leave it. Yeah. So I'm messaging him because I didn't know if he was still hunting and I didn't want to mess him up. So I messaged Carl and I said, hey, I've shot a deer. Are you hunting? I saw the truck. And he goes, oh no. He said, we got that stuck in the mud yesterday. We're going to come back and we're going to, get it out later. And I'm like, okay, I shot a deer. We're going to have to come back and we're going to track it a little bit. Well, when we found it, I sent him a picture from the woods and he goes, well, that's a heck of a doe. I go, I didn't say it was a doe. I just said I shot a deer. And he goes, man, he's big. How big do you think he is? And I guessed 180. Before Seth had come down and put a tape on him, I guessed 180 is what I told Carl. And then Seth comes down, he tapes him out. And then he says, hey, I've got this friend who does wildlife photography. He does hunting photography. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Who's that? Blake Wallerman. I go, wait a second. Like the basketball player from Woodlawn? Okay.
Yeah, that basketball player had found something he was really good at.
Something else he was really good at. Because he was a really good basketball player.
Ball player.
But, I mean, Blake Wallerman from Woodlawn, Illinois, I mean, he's doing huge things.
Well, I was about to say, if you know anything,
photography.
if you know anything about the hunting industry at this point, you've probably seen pictures of him,
And
but
you just didn't know it.
even know it.
I mean, I think at that point, Seth sent me some pictures. He'd just been on a hunt with Travis
was
T-Bone
T-Bone,
Turner.
yeah.
Like the week before.
So he's
in Kansas.
He had been working with the bone collector and lacrosse at that point.
Yeah.
Were the two things that I knew of.
And he said, I can see if he'd come down and take some pictures. So Blake comes down the next day, and we do a photo shoot with this deer.
And those are awesome.
And they are unbelievable pictures. You actually had a book made for me of those pictures, and we'll put a few of them up. Blake it's a beautiful deer. It's a deer of a lifetime, and then Blake made it even more special with what he did with it. But, I call. I'm thinking, I've gotten a lot of deer mounted. This is a special one. I want to do something different. So I called a couple of people and got some recommendations, got a taxidermist recommended to me, and I called him. And this was one of the cooler things, I think, after the fact. So I call this gentleman and I'm telling him, where I'm from, and I've killed this deer, and it's a pretty good sized deer, biggest one I've shot. Are you still taking mounts? Yeah, I am. And he says, what'd you say your name was? And I told him, and he goes, is there a picture of that deer on the back of a 4-wheeler with like the sky behind it? And I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, I want to do that deer. And somebody had seen that deer that we had posted, obviously.
Yeah.
And they took that, and they sent it to the taxidermist, go, look at this dude. And he knew what deer it was before I told him. He figured that out. And
All right, we get it, Mr. Big
no,
Nuts.
no. This is so I take it down there, and then he calls me. He's like, "You need to come pick your rack up."
And then disaster.
Well, and I'm like, "Excuse me, I've never had that happen before." He goes, "When I get a deer this big, I want you to hold on to the rack until I'm ready to put it on the mount." He goes, "I want you. I don't want it in my shop." I'm like, oh, "Whoa, okay, this is new." I've never experienced that before. So we bring the skull plate and the rack home, and we put it in the spare room where it's safe. I'll let you pick it up from here.
So I, for whatever reason, either to wash some sort of clothes, check the hunting bags, something, I go into the laundry room, and I had heard something earlier, but we have, at that point, there's 4 cats. So they're not uncommon. And I go downstairs, and both sides of that rack are split on the concrete floor. And I start dry heaving.
Yep.
And I don't even know what I said. I know Mom came running.
You didn't tell me.
No, that didn't happen. No, that did not happen. I know Mom came running downstairs, and it looked like she had saw a ghost. And I hop on the phone, and I call the taxidermist, and I'm like, "Hey, so-and-so's my dad. You're doing this buck. The skull plate's broke." And he didn't understand me. He was like, "I can't really do anything about it." And I'm telling you, I have tears in my eyes. And I said, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do with the skull plate. And he goes, "Skull plate? Oh, I thought it was a whole mount." He goes, "We'll glue it back together. We're good."
It's not a big deal.
And I'm telling you, I melt into the floor down onto a knee with, different.
Yeah, 'cause that happens
bone
a lot.
shard. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. he'll bring it down." And then we waited until he got home. That was not a text message. I was like, "You need to come with me. We need to have a discussion." And then he melted into the floor, and I go,
Yeah.
"I've handled it. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. I've
handled
already
it."
talked to the taxidermist.
Oh God, but that
Yep.
was so bad.
All right. Because we're going to continue this and pick this up on the next episode. Okay? Because it doesn't need to be a 2-hour episode. I don't want to skip that. Grab him. He's been in the background, but you don't really get to take a good look at him. And when we're telling his story,
Get your 9-pointer out of the way and get your other one.
it was a good year. It was a good year.
And this is only...
It was an expensive year.
Yeah. No
between 3 shoulder mounts and a freezer full of venison. I don't know how many, thousands of dollars we
Be
spent
careful
that
with
year. All right.
Should we give him a microphone?
I don't think he'll say much.
Ouch.
So this is the Freak. And this is a better look at the Freak than you've ever gotten before. One of the coolest things about him is he still has velvet right here that he never lost completely.
Well, he's got velvet and wood in his ankles.
And what a great job Into the Trail Taxidermy did. I mean, my goodness. And one of the things in that message that I was sending to you guys is there were so many more points and junk that we didn't see on the videos. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's a point here. This brow is split. This brow is split. We knew this G2 was split and was long. There was just so much on this that we didn't see on that video.
And something that is my absolute favorite, and it's going to be really hard for the camera to pick up, I think, is all the detail in the bone as it goes. This is a gorgeous color rack from the bottom to the top. It's so unique. And then you've got all these little bone lines that go through it. And to me, it looks almost like lightning going through it is what it reminds me of.
There's a good...
it's just so unique on top of being such a special buck.
And I mean, I've never had him officially scored. I can't enter him. Can't enter him into the record book.
So he'll always be right there at 200 to us.
Well, I mean,
you can debate with us, but you're not going to get through to us either.
I mean, 203 is what I think he was taped at.
Yeah, and it was 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
because the first time we didn't believe it.
The first time we were like, "There's no way. Run it again."
And then it was to the 1/8 of an inch. It was the same thing.
And to be honest with you, and I don't know if you can see that from where I'm sitting, I can really see it, is that right side is really pushed in. And that's where we were talking about he was injured during the year because, he'd have, maybe another 4 or 5 inches if he was out on his right side like he is on his left, because that inside spread is really hurt by that right side being pushed in. But he's super long, super tall, and really heavy. And I mean, he's the Freak.
Yeah,
and
be a good angle for them to see how it's pushed in if you keep him straight like that.
I don't know if you can see that, but he's also our logo. And that's why we say we're all freaks, because of this deer. And I hope I kill one bigger. At 52, I don't know that I will.
I hope I kill one just smaller.
But 22 years ago, I killed this one, and he has been officially scored, and he's 189. And I never thought I'd kill a bigger deer than that. And then there was this one. So who knows?
It's like watching Austin Powers.
Yeah, you're too low. You're too low.
Don't hold his ear. Hold the bone.
I'm not really holding his ear. I'm holding down here.
You can just put him down for now.
You're making him nervous.
Yeah, you are. You're making me nervous.
You're about to make him pee his pants.
Because we're going to wrap this up pretty quick. Okay, that's 2 of our 5.
Yeah.
We killed 5.
Oh, God, I thought that was the deer.
I just saw one of our lights go in front of the camera.
I just saw him reach for something.
Druden. Druden's going to Druden.
A lot of off-camera antics from you tonight.
More so than normal.
You're making me take a mount off with no room.
That was 2 of the 5.
Yeah.
My season was done on October the 24th. And that's what I mean. the COVID year was our best, most special year
It
ever.
kind of-
and I hunted for 3 weeks.
I mean, the reason why this is such a long episode and we're going to get into it more is because this is the year that really solidified what we are now.
we went from
We like to hunt.
to this is what we do. This is what we do 12 months out of the year, and it was because of 2020. I hunted for 3 weeks that year. My first hunt was on October 3rd, and I killed a deer that night. My last hunt was October 24th. And after that, I picked up a camera for the rest of the year because I wasn't done being in the woods. I didn't have that out of me, but I also knew I had a shotgun tag, and I did take a gun with me the morning you killed yours. But you know how that is. You go in without a buck tag, and that's when that 230 comes by and just tempts you, you know? And I don't need that kind of temptation in my
To
life.
be fair, he did not have a 230-inch deer walk in front of him that morning.
but I was like,
did not
"Dear
use.
Lord."
He also did not use the shotgun tag. Don't let that get misconstrued.
No.
That's why he
No.
picked up the
No,
camera.
and we'll get to that because it was a pretty quick morning.
Yeah.
Mine was.
You killed 2 more deer that year. You killed 1. You both have mounts. We mounted 3 deer and skull mounted another one that year.
Yeah.
That was the best year ever. And here we are, 6 years after the world ended, as we knew it ended.
Yeah.
And as awful and horrible as that year was, I wouldn't change a thing about it in that part. Why is that doing that?
I might have bounced my leg.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize.
Because I was
it
like,
gonna
I'm not
do
touching that.
No, I didn't know it was going to do that. I'm sorry.
So this is part 1 of 2020. We're going to do part 2, and it's going to be all about you guys because you killed 3 bucks the rest of the year. And I took some good pictures, and I enjoyed that because it was weird because I was sitting at a stand with a camera, and there was no pressure. It was just I'm taking pictures and driving around and having a ball. So it was a pretty special year. So apparently, when the world shuts down and all you can do is spend your time in the woods, good things happen. You know, the 2020 season turned into one of the craziest runs we've ever had. 5 bucks on the ground, 4 of them big. We've talked about 2 of them so far. 3 of them, those stories, they're still to come. If you've enjoyed hearing about that season so far, share the podcast with a buddy or 2 or 3. Hit that like button, hit the share button, tell your friends about it. Next week, we're going to talk about Jamie's 2 bucks, one with a bow, one with a gun, and Jaden's buck with a gun, and that 2020 season. Until next time, I'm Clark. This is Jamie. This is Jaden. We are OSNG. Thanks for listening.